So I'm going to start off by sharing with you, giving you a little insight into my life. I had a dream, much like Martin Luther King Jr. I had a dream that one day I would get a chance to tour and take my family with me. Because back in the day, I used to tour the world with a rock band, and I couldn't take my family. And when my son was born, I dreamt of being able to take them with me. Now we live that life. That dream has come about, and it is a blessing. So I'm glad my son is here today. He doesn't usually come. So he usually stays with our host or at the host house, so we got him to come today, so that's great. He gets to hear the stories. So today, what I want to talk about in the fulfillment of our dreams, in the journey that we take to become all that we're here to be, to find our purpose, to open up to that great power, tap into our genius, claim our birthright. In that wonderful journey, it gets tough. As the old saying goes, no mud, no lotus. So what I learned on my journey of receiving and birthing my dreams is that you could be assured the going's going to get tough. Why? Well, we can look at the analogy of birthing, right? That growth, 9 months, 10 months, as my wife has informed me. But that wonderful period where suddenly the expansion can no longer contain the little limited space it's been growing in. And discomfort triggers a process where the dilation begins and there has to be a birthing of something new. And that birthing isn't comfortable. In fact, there's discomfort by design. And it's the same with our expansion. It's the same with becoming who we need to be. I often tell my son, whatever you want to be, if it involves any sort of mastery, what does it take, son? Work. And what do I call it? Starts with a P.
Oh, practice.
Practice, yes. Takes practice. Whatever we want to do requires practice, but even practice, is it always comfortable? Especially not when you're starting off. It's not comfortable. There's discomfort in practice. But when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Believe it or not, that's the title of this talk. The tough get going. Remember the old song Billy Ocean did? Did anybody remember that? When the going gets tough. I almost wanted to get the band to play that, but thought it might be a little too 80s, so we skipped that part. But if you're familiar with that popular American English proverb, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going, the truth is life does get tough. And the reality is it's for us. Sometimes life gets tough in ways we don't see how it's for us. We talked this morning about how everything is in divine order and for us in our opening circle. But in reality, do we always see that? It takes practice. It takes a cultivation of practice to move through the discomfort that has us investing belief in what does not align with reality from source, the true reality, the unseen reality. It really takes practice to be able to let go of that limited conditioned thinking, that programming, that coding or scripts, if you will, that we've invested so much belief in from the moment we inhabited this domain. We're often conditioned to believe, I am this, and I am not that. It's programmed and conditioned into us. My name is this. Your name is that. Just conditioning. Nothing wrong with it. It makes it real, makes it feel real, this wonderful dimension we live in. It's amazing that practice can help us birth into a new reality and realization of the truth of who we are. Because when the going gets tough, there's a little something that begins to motivate us to want to change. Just like the birthing process. You see, it's the discomfort, the mud, that are the imperfect ingredients to begin to increase our desire to change. Change what? When we have limited conditioned beliefs that believe we're separate, less than or greater than, when we have limited conditioned beliefs that think the other is not part of who I am, when we have limited conditioned beliefs that think I'm right, you're wrong. These beliefs create this appearance of separation. The quality of our thinking informs the quality of our experience. The quality of our thinking is this lower level consciousness that believes in separation. And it informs the quality of our experience, separation. So as I think, I begin to create the presence, being, vibration, frequency, energy, and emotion of separation. Separation from what? Wholeness. Separation from completion. And what does that create? Discomfort. It's the perfect ingredients for suffering. This is the funny part. You mean to tell me all this time I was growing up believing that I am this and trying to build my confidence and that I can be all I can be and all of this, I was investing in separation? Well, to a degree, yes. But there's nothing wrong with it. It's the ingredients. In reality, it's part of the whole picture to create the discomfort, to increase your desire to break free of the suffering. You see, little secret, we love the suffering. We love to choose the suffering. That's one of those interesting, strange realities. It feels good, right? And as we choose the suffering, we create this toughness, this tough road. When the going gets tough, this discomfort. As the discomfort comes, the beliefs in separation and our desire to believe in such gets eclipsed by our desire to break free of the suffering, the birthing pains. Then we find the practices. We seek and find the practices that work for us. So, what does it mean to be tough? When the going gets tough, the discomfort gets so great. The desire to opt out of the suffering increases. What does it mean in the context of when the going gets tough, the tough get going? Toughness, we've heard, we can think of as resilience. That's part of it. But what I want to introduce to you is sort of a brand new definition of tough. You see, the old masculine tough is to thwart pain, right? That, oh, he's tough, he thwarts the pain. Just grits itself and goes right through it. The old definition of tough is about grinding your teeth and pushing through the barriers with raw power, determination, with your will. And that's all great. That's all good. But what if you can simply transcend this forceful path by opting out of the suffering altogether? What if there was a new type of toughness that doesn't require suffering at all? though it still requires discomfort. Imagine this was a commercial and I was bringing to you this solution, right? I would cue the legal team and they'd come in and say side effects may include not being worried about the things that normally plague you, not being distracted by the typical concerns that make you feel like life isn't working out in your favor. Some users also report experiencing feelings of bliss and happiness, peace and calm that defy logic. So now I believe is the time to cultivate a deeper realization of four things. And we talk about this in work that we do around sacred economy, moving from the old paths to a new dynamic. The first thing is trust, cultivating a deeper relationship in our trust. See, when we're facing the reality of separation, the appearance, I should say, of this reality of separation, what does it look like in this dimension? Looks like racial tension, political tension, economic tension and inflation, war, us versus them, you're right, I'm wrong. Shows up in a lot of ways. Sickness, death, transitions. The reality of this appearance that we deal with. What's beautiful is if we cultivate practices that help us lean into trust, we can ask, with all these things coming up, what is mine to know? How is this for me? How is this mud showing up supposed to support me in divine order? Now, I can get up here and tell you all the lessons I've learned, but it's your practice that counts. Pain. How is this for me? I often love to share my favorite lesson in pain, breaking my ankle, being in overwhelming pain, and transcending suffering. So the pain's still there, and I'm like looking at it like, oh, this is just information. Wow, this must be what it's like when I read about Gandhi having surgery with no anesthetic, and he's just sipping tea. It's such an amazing ability that we have access to when we use our practices and tap into what we really are. How is this war, this enmity for me? Well, if there's oneness, it's a reflection of me. What's in me that has malice for myself, for what I've done in the past? How can I see this in my own consciousness? Because all consciousness is my consciousness. And what's mine to do? Often leaning into that trust on the principles that we've been taught requires a practice. Cultivating a presence from moment to moment. Being aware of the thoughts that are arising and how we're thinking, how we're judging. What are the scripts running in the background? How is my body feeling? Let me lean into this trust of what I know, that there is a power that is everywhere present, able to teach me all things. We have our son do morning practices to cultivate that trust. I don't know if he likes it, but sometimes he'll show us his little journal entries. We're like, wow, that's brilliant. He's tapping into his genius. He's like, I don't believe in all that source stuff, Dad. It's like, well, what do you think is coming? It's some part of my brain. Okay, we'll go with that then. Whatever it is, it's genius, so we'll accept it. The beautiful thing is, it doesn't really matter what you call it. Do you have a practice to tap into it? To give you that direction, something that will help you when the going gets tough, to lean into that trust and have a true north. Where everybody else may be saying, go this way, be very afraid, the world is turning on a dime, and you need to go this way. And you tune in to trust and hear, oh, go that way. Exit stage left. That's the practice of trust. When the going gets tough, the tough get going and lean into trust. We also lean into contribution. What is mine to do? First question I ask in the mornings is, what's mine to know, to realize during my journaling, after my meditation? Second question, what's mine to do? To take that inspiration, that beingness, that alignment with the source of who I am, that gratitude, whatever I've cultivated, and then what's the action to take? Stage left. What's the action to take? What is mine to do? That's a practice. A practice you can apply moment to moment if you've cultivated the practice of tuning in, aligning, expanding your awareness, and accessing a higher level of consciousness, a higher level of thought to inform the quality of your experience. So, when the going gets tough, the tough lean into trust, contribution, and community. I often felt I've got everything I need right here inside of me. I need nothing else. And as my awareness expanded, I realized I was looking through an individuated point of awareness that didn't realize inside of me is more than inside of here. As your awareness expands, you realize inside of you is everything. It's not isolated to this body, this personality, this life experience. I've got everything I need inside of me. That leads us to community. We think when the I am or when the principle says you have everything you need and there's no separation, that means I can be the individual. Well, you just created separation. You just reinforced that I'm separate and need nothing else outside of me, and I'm not part of this. No. Everything is connected, and the inside of you is it all. There's only oneness here. So, when it comes to community, you are remembering who you are. You're bringing your parts together. You're accepting it all as the essence of who you are. And that allows you to reclaim the truth of who you are. You are the divine expressing itself infinitely as extensions of you, the source itself, but not you, the personality. Don't get it twisted. It's you, the source. Community allows you to reconnect with those who have gifts, to remind you of who you are, remind you of your value, remind you of your perfection, remind you of your beauty. Why do we like romance? If only one of us is here, what's that all about, right? We get to remind ourselves of the beauty of love as a reflection of unconditional love, passionate love. Since my son is here, I'll stop there. The kind of love that resulted in him being here. It's a beautiful, sacred love. But without community, we don't have that opportunity. Community can also help us, I believe it's the famous poet Rumi says, help us walk home holding hands together. I thought I could do it all with this within here. And then I was shown I'm not meant to. In fact, by design, there is the reflection of me to help hold my hand and walk home together. And finally, When the going gets tough, the tough lean into abundance. When the appearance of lack and discomfort show up in our experience, man, isn't it easy to activate fear, lack, and separation. And oh my goodness, look at my bank account. When was the last time it was this low? Oh, inflation, the gas prices. Oh, it's so many wonderful opportunities to choose lack and separation. And in fact, our media, social media, regular media, kind of thrives on that, cultivates that. No judgment. It's okay. How does that feel? Constricting, fearful, discomfort, exactly. Perfect ingredients. Perfect ingredients to increase our desire to opt out of suffering. Now, it takes what it takes. Sometimes it takes stopping, going through those first three we talked about, leaning into those, the trust, the contribution, the community, and then noticing the discomfort. Oh, wait a minute. Every time I think like this, every time I speak like this, every time I go that direction, how does it feel? We start to realize, I think I'm ready to let go of the discomfort. It's no longer serving me. I used to like it. I used to love that level of suffering. Now I'm done. It's not working anymore. And then we begin to activate that alignment, expand the awareness, and notice, choose the abundance. What does that look like in the face of a low bank account? Activating and choosing abundance means in the face of what I see, can I bring my awareness, my attention back to gratitude? Can I bring my awareness and attention back to a place that focuses on what I do have? For they that have will receive more. He that doesn't have, that which he has will be taken away. What's that scripture talking about? He who doesn't have, that which he has will be taken away. In order for something to be taken away, he must have something, right? But he who doesn't have is a state of mind. You always have. When you have breath, you have. Either you choose abundance and to see what you have and be grateful for and receive more, or you choose not to have and what you do have is taken away. When the going gets tough, the tough get going by leaning into abundance, activating prosperity through gratitude. If you look at my life, I think he's talking back. I've been talking to God for so long. That's a Kanye rhyme me and my son sing sometimes. If you look at my life, I think he's talking back. We talk to God through that gratitude. Enter the gates with thanksgiving, that we can see the abundance, see the blessing, see the perfection and the prosperity. The quality of our thinking informs the quality of our experience. Then that wonderful experience can be felt internally, in the resonance and the amplification we create will begin to attract those wonderful experiences that match that frequency, that vibration. So when the going get tough, the tough get going by leaning into trust, contribution, what's mine to do, community, walking hand in hand, and abundance. Now, I've got something to leave you with, and I'll wrap up. Tough. Came up with a few little acronyms for TOUGH. To overcome using guidance home. Tough. Right? Or tough. taking over using guidance home. Either way, however, whatever feels good to you, it's our ability to go home, to align with the source, the essence of who we truly are, that allows us to lean into that trust, that allows us to find our contribution, what's going to be most harmonious, what's going to feel best and highest, that allows us to activate that abundance and resonate with our community. And finally, to get going, we've talked about this already. The G, gratitude. Activate your gratitude. The O, openness. Open to that wonderful genius that will guide you on what's yours to do. I, inquire. Ask. Those who have not, ask not. Ask, seek, knock. In, nod. Giving thanks for what you received. And degree. G, get to it. Don't procrastinate. What's mine to do? Now, you can even ask, now or later. Now, okay, get to it. So we're going to get to it. I thank you for listening to this wonderful reminder of what you already know. And the reality is, as we lean into these wonderful principles and are reminded of that oneness and our perfection, we can more freely activate consciously our power. Namaste.